Theresa May came here to seek an extension beyond the 29th of March, but with no real plan on how to unblock the impasse. The other 27 EU leaders came up with a plan for her. She could have an extension, but with strings attached. Brexit can be delayed until May the 22nd, but to qualify, the UK has to pass the current withdrawal deal next week. If it doesn't, the UK will have to leave by April the 12th, unless it decides to participate in EU elections and agree to a much longer extension to find a completely new solution.
As you know, in accordance with the treaties, any extension must be decided unanimously by the EU 27, in agreement with the member state concerned. This is why I met Prime Minister May several times tonight, to make sure that the UK accepts the extension scenarios, and I am pleased to confirm that we have reached an agreement on this. Thank you.
Many have long suspected Theresa May's strategy has been to run down the clock to put pressure on MPs to support the deal. It hasn't worked. Under this latest offer from the EU, she gets one last chance. But if she fails, the offer of a much longer extension comes with conditions which will infuriate Brexit-supporting MPs in her own party. In reality, EU leaders knew the present deal doesn't have enough support and quickly turned to avoiding the impending crisis of the UK crashing out next week. So the ball is now back in the British court.
What the decision today underlines is the importance of the House of Commons passing a Brexit deal next week so that we can bring an end to the uncertainty and leave in a smooth and orderly manner. Tomorrow morning I will be returning to the UK and working hard to build support for getting the deal through.
EU leaders are in no doubt Theresa May's leadership is weaker than ever. They've given her one last chance, but if a new deal emerges over a much longer extension, they realise she may not be the one in charge of it. Next week there will be a third vote on the deal, but also one by MPs who want to take over the process with new ideas. This time they might succeed. Simon McGregor-Wood, TRT World, Brussels.
Well, Kevin Ozebek has been following the story for us, and he joins me now from Brussels. Thanks for being with us, Kevin. So Theresa May asked for June the 30th, but they gave her a completely different timeline. Why was that?
Well, I think that's because they are losing faith in how this is all going to play out over on the UK side. They viewed it as very chaotic. So essentially what we saw at this summit is the EU grabbing the steering wheel and taking control. So now we have this new set of red lines from the EU, all in the form of this new Brexit calendar. So March the 29th, which is a date we've been saying for about 2 years now, which would be B-Day, Brexit Day, we can erase that from our agendas. We can cross that out of our calendars. And the new dates to put in, as Simon just laid out, April 12th, as well as if that divorce deal passes for the third time, if the third time is the charm over in the UK House of Commons, then Brexit Day will move to May the 22nd.
And these negotiations have been going on for an awfully long time, as you just said there. How would you describe the level of Brexit fatigue?
Through the roof at this point, very, very high. And that's because this has just sucked up the EU agenda for about 2 years now. There were many other important things on the agenda for this EU summit, like EU-China relations, at a time when the EU is trying to take a much tougher tone against Beijing, as well as there are so many security issues here about Chinese tech. That was all kind of brushed aside. That was supposed to be talked about Thursday evening, but the only thing the EU-27 talked about was Brexit. So what happened? EU-China relations were pushed back today. They got very little time, so this will be something else that the EU will kind of have to reserve and push back for a later date. As devastating as Brexit may be, as little as the EU wants to see the UK leave, it's now at the point now where they don't want this to just dominate the agenda at every single summit.
And what is the thinking there amongst the EU leaders on how the British Prime Minister is handling it? Back at home, she's sort of, has a very weak political standing, but is it the same position in Brussels?
She definitely is politically weak here as well, but at the same time, there is a lot of sympathy for her. It's always been viewed that she has been inherited this poison chalice, and there's little she can do with the population over in the UK, the voting public there, so polarized as well. But at times, she's given speeches, she's made statements that have really tried to blame the EU on all this. Earlier this week, we saw her try to blame her own parliament for the whole chaotic and lack of movement with all this. But there is still a personal relationship, we should say, that the EU27 have built with her along this very tough process. One person who I think put it quite well is the Dutch Prime Minister, Mark Rutte. He says he still has the utmost respect for her, and he has a lot of sympathy towards her because, as he describes it in his words, the challenge she faces is unhuman.
Okay, Kevin Ozebek with the latest from Brussels. Thanks for joining us.